The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast platform, its affiliates, or even the hosts. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, financial, or professional advice. The host and guests are not liable for any errors of omission in the content, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages arising from the use of the information provided. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional advice relevant to their specific circumstances. Now enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to Healing
y'all.
Loud. I am Divine Essence.
I am Gabrielle the Womb Healer. I'm sorry.
We missed y'all. We ain't been here in a minute.
Yes, we missed y'all.
We excited. It's always exciting when we get on here and have these conversations because they are so enlightening and they're so helpful to the community and for us.
Yeah.
For us.
Chrissy,
did you tell the people I'm Perfectly Chris?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, y'all didn't hear me.
We were talking at the same time.
Y'all don't know us anyway. Y'all probably know us, but just in case you don't.
Come on.
Wake it up.
Aji right there, front and center. Hey Aji, we see you today. We see you.
It feels like a minute, y'all.
Yes.
Has it been like a month?
It has. It's been like a month because we only do every 2 weeks. I think we missed 3 weeks.
And we missed. It's been a minute. So that means we got a lot to catch up on and a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
But if you haven't been watching us, welcome to Healing Out Loud. This is a show where we are actually healing out loud. We're talking about all things healing, all things that to help us to grow and just being transparent and vulnerable with our healing journey. And that's what we hope to do with you and yours. If you're on your journey, if you're looking to get on your journey, just keep watching.
For sure.
Just keep watching. Today's topic is the blessings of boundaries.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about creating them boundaries, sticking to them boundaries, and not being afraid to set those boundaries.
That's right. And enforcing them even when it gets difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
For sure.
Because setting the boundary is hard, but we're going to get into that. But before we even get into that, we're going to put a spotlight on some brothers in our community. We're going to call this our community corner.
A community corner.
The community corner.
Wake it up.
Yes.
So we wanted to highlight, especially with just like the overall tone right now in the country. Want to just always shed positivity where we can, just spread good vibes where we can, and highlight the beautiful even amongst like the undesirable. And then so us ladies here personally, along with our co-host who unfortunately due to a last minute emergency wasn't able to make it on tonight's show. Yes, hey Lele, gonna hold it down for you, queen. We personally know these brothers who are doing excellent work in the community. There are quite a few, but off the top, we have Tuck, we have D Ryder, we have, I believe it's Kanara. I mispronounced his name before, but if you know, you know. We have Brandon. These fellas are a part of a movement called Conscious Nights. They all have their own, individual movements, but collectively, this team called Conscious Nights, they can be followed at Conscious Nights, as well as Unapologetically Alkaline.
Yes.
In real time, in real life, in their homes and in their communities, these are brothers that move with integrity, stand on honor. They push love, they push peace genuinely. And they're all about wellness through and through, like what you consume as far as what you're listening to, what you eat, everything that you put into your body so that you are a very clear and intentional vessel so that what you put out in the world is just as authentic as what you take in. They're doing a lot, and this is a positive, this is a great time to just send a lot of love and positivity to our brothers, especially our Black brothers who don't get highlighted enough unless it's something negative. So if y'all see this, shout out to y'all and thank you for being pillars in the community, which are much needed.
Yes.
Shout out Unapologetically Alkaline, the hood healer. Ladies, men, gentlemen, if you have any ailments, anything, you need healing, you can definitely hit him up. sometimes he gives free game. He don't even charge you for his time. He'll just say, hey, do this, 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 and this. But he also offers you tonics and teas and different things to help heal your body. He believes in mind, body, and soul work. So that's where we collide. And I love y'all.
Yes, shout out to y'all doing great things in the community. We love our brothers. I love to see the men doing their thing, like, because it's always women. You know, the women, I wouldn't say it's always women. Women seem to get the recognition more than the men, even though they're out there doing it. So shout out to y'all doing what you doing.
Yes. Thank you for being leaders, y'all.
Thank you for being leaders in the community. Wait, why did you go low? You went low, Gabe.
Your mic, honey. We can't hear you.
I don't know why we can't hear you. See, we live, y'all. We live. Anything can happen. We live.
It's real out here.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, honey. We hear you.
Okay. All right. I was saying, we as women, sometimes I think we do things a little more boldly and a little more loudly than men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. They always in the cut, like, we doing it, but you know, we don't need to be seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we see you. We see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're seen and heard.
And I love
your flowers.
About integrity. You know, that's so important.
Yeah.
And standing on that and doing things with intention.
For sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
So we can get right into the conversation.
Let's do it.
Boundaries. You know, how many times have we struggled with setting boundaries and sticking to them? I know for me,
it's daily.
It's daily.
Yeah.
It's
daily.
It's daily. It's something that it's going to always be, because we love people. We have people that we love in our lives, and sometimes we have to set boundaries with them.
Yeah.
And that can be really hard. But there's a blessing in all of it.
Absolutely.
There's a blessing in setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Because it could definitely guard your heart. Eliminate a lot of stress when you create boundaries.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you're trimming the fat. Like you're cutting all of the mess out. It's a good, what is it, like a shifter? It's a good shifter. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And so we're gonna there's a definition if you don't know what a boundary is. I see that RG, our engineer, put up a definition. Boundaries are limits or guidelines a person sets within their relationships that define what is safe, acceptable, and reasonable ways other people can behave around them.
Yes.
Thank you, RG. That's great.
That was great. That was great.
And guess what? If I might add, these boundaries, they speak to physical, emotional, sexual, spiritual, and cultural. All of these things are, you can put boundaries around all these things.
Yes.
And there's no limit to what a boundary, but you have to make sure that when you set these boundaries that you're following through with the boundaries. I don't know how many times I've set a boundary and went back on it.
Yeah. That's so I agree with that, because setting it starts within. You have to get to a point where you're fed up, or at least you have found the boldness to say this can't go on any further. And then the next step is communicating it or implementing that boundary. But the work is enforcing it. And a lot of times, I can speak for myself, I dropped the ball at enforcing it because I wasn't ready. Maybe I wasn't ready sometimes to follow through with what I needed. And then fear a lot of the other times.
Fear is big.
And when you say fear, it could be fear of rejection. It could be fear of conflict. It could be fear of hurting somebody else.
Yeah.
There's so many things that fear of loneliness. And when it comes to
because who wants to hurt someone they love?
Because you start creating. There was a time I used to say, I'm gonna have so many boundaries that I'm not gonna have no friends. Just gonna be over here like,
But you know what's good about boundaries and things like that? Because I feel like once you start attracting that type of energy as far as boundaries goes, you're surrounded by people that also live in that world of where boundaries are important. Because my sisters, y'all believe that boundaries are important. We live in that realm that boundaries are important. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
There
you
was a
definitely
time
attract the
I lived in
vibe.
a realm
Yeah.
where boundaries were
For
not
sure.
important to the people I was around or that I associated with. You know what I mean? It's just like once you, and that's what's so important about healing out loud, because healing is a big deal in regard to things like Crystal said, it's that shifting that happens when you're healing. And the shifting also happens in regard to boundaries.
Yeah,
So,
it does.
good.
It does. Because once you start creating these boundaries, certain things are either going to remove themselves, to be honest.
Talk about it.
They're going to remove themselves. You might not even have to do much work for certain things. It depends.
Yeah.
They'll remove themselves from you.
Right.
And you'll look up and be like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been in a place where a boundary has been set and it's been removed, but then I went back and brought it back.
Wow.
Wait,
what'd you bring back? The boundary or the behavior?
No, I set a boundary like, okay, I'm going to just eliminate this person out of my life. And next thing you know, I'm calling that person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
it's like
ball on the enforcement.
Drop the ball on it myself. So now it's like now I got to start all over again because now that person thinks it's okay because you said this boundary. You wasn't serious.
Yeah.
You wasn't serious. So, but the thing with that is that when you recognize it, you can correct it.
Yeah.
And if you got to set a boundary again, it's okay.
And again and again.
And again and again. It's okay. It's okay. Just
again and again.
Right.
It's crazy how setting boundaries is immediately connected to anticipating a negative experience when doing that. When it doesn't even have to be. It can really just be, this is what I need now. And like it doesn't even have to be like I'm cutting you off, but I want to experience, life with you or things with you in a different way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's it gets negative I feel like it gets negative when the other person doesn't respect you or anything about your person. But you can you already know that, because if you have to set boundaries, hard boundaries to certain people, disrespect has been running rampant anyway.
That's the truth.
Exactly. Or when you're good at it, or when you're not just in the beginning stages or like learning this whole boundary thing, sometimes you're able to set it before the disrespect becomes rampant. You kind of see signs of it, and it's like, oh, let me put a boundary in place right now.
Immediately.
I'm familiar with some shit like this.
So but see, when you're on this journey, when you're healing, you see things before it even gets out of control. Most times. Before you get there, you already deep in it, and it's like, okay, I gotta crawl my way up out of this because this is not where I need to be. So that's when you start creating those boundaries, and I think that's where it gets really hard, when you're in it and you need to get out of that. So now I got to start setting these boundaries because I can't do this anymore, or we can't do this anymore, or whatever that thing is. We can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
it's easy to head it off right before it starts, but when you're in it, that's where it becomes hard. Because it's like, well, you've been accepting this. What's the problem now?
Yeah.
So now you're brand new. When you acting brand new, or you think you better than, and that's where all the negativity comes, when you start creating boundaries
right there
in the middle of a situation that you have accepted before. So now you don't want to accept it. So it's like, who you think you are?
And
that's when you got to. Go ahead.
So what you were saying earlier, how when you set boundaries and then all of a sudden you look around and it's like, where the hell everybody at?
Yeah.
And I was saying that I hate how harsh this saying is, but that's like the trash taking itself to the curb. Like you did nothing but a favor. And when you said that, your vibe attracts your tribe. So it's like you may be lonely for a bit, but like what you need will start to come to you.
Absolutely.
That's so true. And it's okay. But I think that if you get a negative response to a boundary, that is just a clear indication that you're doing the right thing. Because if someone is responding negatively to your boundary, then okay, yeah, you don't need that person or whatever thing is in your life because of how they're reacting. I don't even know if I've ever been met with a positive reaction to a boundary.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I don't know. Maybe this. Do y'all feel like this is a boundary? So for me, Mondays for me are reset days, and I don't do phone calls from anybody. I don't do the phone. I don't do a lot of anything. I just reset my mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
Now I have had y'all, my sisters. I have not had an issue with. I let everybody know that that's a boundary in my life, right?
Girl, I'm so used to saying I'll talk to you Tuesday because I know
that's what I was getting at. So that's what was a positive. I get a positive response to that boundary that I've set from people that understand boundaries.
Okay.
So my people, they get it, and we just rock out like that.
And
you know what I mean?
And it's respect.
Absolutely.
So you respect the boundary.
Absolutely.
So the people who don't respect the boundary are the ones that's going to give you some sort of difficult.
Oh yeah. Response. Oh yeah, they'll still be calling. I'll be looking at my phone like, now she know today is Monday.
You know.
They still be calling. Yeah.
So there's how do you set boundaries when you meet someone new?
Is this and I'm gonna just naturally assume we're talking about a potential lover?
I think it could be for anyone.
Just relationship in general.
Just relationship, or you meet when I came into the fold of soul care, I'm meeting new people. We don't know each other. Yeah. So I think I came in the door with a mutual a respect for you guys already. So I haven't had to set any boundaries with soul care.
Yeah.
Dang, I think that when it comes to just like platonic relationships, like friendships, I'll just say for me, like you really gotta vet nowadays. You gotta vet for real, because when you get close to someone that has a friendship, that's like a different level of intimacy. So I think that boundaries will naturally come if you meet somebody and you're building like a friendship, like girlfriend type of thing.
Yeah.
First there's already like a compatibility. And then if the vibe is there, and then depending on what type of person they are, I think that boundaries comes directly after respect. Like you said, Michelle, when you came into the fold, you just had a mutual respect for everybody, even though you didn't know, because that's what you were on. You were already on, even though you're different than who you are at that time, you were already moving in that direction of, just really walking into who you saw Shell to be. And you were meeting people who at different stages in their life were on that same type time.
Yeah.
So if you kind of know if somebody's like that, you may not have to implement boundaries because it'll be a respect there. I see what you want, sis, and I respect it.
It's respect, exactly.
I was thinking maybe not right away do you have to set the boundary, because in those moments we're talking about making sure people are accepting of the behaviors that, not accepting, but they're giving what you accept in a relationship. So, certain people, I have people that I've never had to set a boundary with because they just vibe that way. They know the vibes. They read the room. You know what I mean? If you're reading the room, it's sometimes where you don't have to set the boundary.
Yeah.
So assess the situation. You don't have to lead with the boundary. You know what I mean? I wouldn't lead with the boundary.
I wouldn't lead with one either. And I agree, because if someone, like, say, I would go with the relation of what you meeting a man. So if you meet a guy and he calls you 12 o'clock at night, and you say, this is inappropriate to be calling me at this time, because
everything okay?
Because what do you want at midnight? I'm just saying. So where are we going with this? So immediately I'm like, okay, I need to check that at the door, because it's not going to be a thing. But then that's also making me feel like you don't know that's not okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. See,
but you gotta understand too, for some women in his life, that probably has been okay.
Has been okay. Right.
Yeah.
So
don't hit me up at 2 o'clock in the morning like
don't do that.
You go to hell. Like,
no. What you mean about sir?
Right.
And if I am so what?
Yeah.
You're right.
That's
Ignore.
not the time for you to be calling me. So
I
yeah,
got
Yeah.
a
I think
girlfriend.
that
She blocks guys for no reason. Stuff
yeah.
like
And
that.
what
He's automatically blocked. This is not gonna work.
that might lead me to not even want to talk to you anymore because
Yeah.
the fact that you thought that was cool to call me at midnight is making me feel like, okay, this is what you do.
Yeah.
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 So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even setting up. I mean, I'm gonna check you, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that
Yeah.
because you don't
Right.
know that that's not okay.
Right.
Yeah,
I think a boundary should come into place when their actions immediately make you feel uncomfortable. Like when you feel
yes,
like you know how something happens and you have that little double dutch rock that you
yeah,
have internally, like, okay, how should
You don't know
I
if you want to jump in
possibly
it.
at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
so,
is when it's like, okay, you know, and then I guess however you choose to communicate, but like when you feel that, that's when you know, all right, boom, I gotta set it right here.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Hmm.
that
agree.
can happen with anybody. You can meet a new
Oh,
person, a new
absolutely.
girl, and they might say something that makes you be like,
Uh
was that
huh.
shade or was that
Yeah.
what was
Yeah.
that? And I'm
Hmm.
in positions where I let it go, and I'll be like, all right, well maybe I'm overthinking something. Then I start to question myself about it.
Yeah.
So then you
No,
don't
I
set
feel
until it happens again. So if it happens again, then
Hmm.
it's like usually for me, if something happens the second time, I might check it. The
Yeah.
first time, I think you probably should check it the first time because if it
Hmm.
made you feel away, it made you feel away
yeah.
Hmm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And usually their response will let you know exactly how they, because if you check somebody and their response is defensive, yeah, they meant to say
Yeah.
whatever they meant to say.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I think if
Yeah.
you set these boundaries early on, I think it can remove a lot of people out of your life quickly, quickly, with the
Yeah.
quickness. Real talk.
And basically, because it's not that we don't want community and that we don't want people in our lives, but we just want people that are in alignment with what we have going
Genuine.
on, what we believe in, what we, you know what I mean? So it's not
Right.
like, oh, damn, well, she's trying to close off everybody. No, but I just don't, I need to weed out the bad. You know what I'm saying? I need to weed out what's bad. But can we wake up, y'all, talking about people that use boundaries as control?
Oh,
To control situations, because I think this is where boundary gets the lines get blurred,
yeah. Let's
because
talk.
don't control me and call it a boundary. Don't
Yeah,
try to control me and call it a boundary.
I feel like I just got mushed a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
Because that's wow. Okay, yeah. Let's
yeah,
talk about that because
let's wake it up.
where you going with this, Gabe? Let's give me an example.
If you don't do this that I want, then I won't be doing this.
Mm,
Like just, you don't do this, well then I won't be, that's my boundary. If you don't do this, then I won't do that.
oh,
Like, you know what I
that's
mean? Just kind of
manipulation.
holding
That's
people
not even
that's
a
hostage to certain
boundary.
things.
manipulation. That's not a
That's
boundary,
complete manipulation.
But
and
people
that's
are calling that boundary.
yes,
They're
and that's where they're
delusional as
getting it messed
well.
up
Yep,
because a boundary is not that.
Yeah,
exactly.
no.
So a
Well,
lot
that's
of
true, and
these,
that's very harsh. Boundaries
yeah,
actually, even if you have to set it with somebody, that's a good thing because when you're done with somebody, you're done. If I have to set a
Yeah.
boundary with you, I'm not necessarily not wanting you around. I
Mm-hmm.
just
right.
want how we do life together, our friendship, our relationship. I
Yeah.
just want it to be smoother because I'm uncomfortable and I want to
Yeah.
make you aware of it and vice versa. But
Absolutely.
doing something like that, well, if you do this and I'm gonna do this, well then do it, nigga. Like the fuck?
Exactly.
Like
No, you're
We
gonna
ain't
do it
holding
like
me
by
you
hostage,
don't
yourself.
bro.
have
Not
to
to me.
Bro.
Not to me.
yeah.
We're not gonna do
Mm-mm.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, boundaries as a
Yeah.
Yeah.
control. So that's
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 straight manipulation.
Yeah.
that's
I've
not
been
even a
manipulated.
boundary.
Someone has tried to manipulate me in that way, as far as saying, if you communicate with this person, then I am cutting you off.
Oh
But
Mm,
no.
that's
yeah,
not a
so
boundary.
that's
That's not.
control. Exactly. That's like a form of control, but
Yeah.
you're calling it boundary. And then you want me to eat that up. But
And
no.
that's also a lack of respect. I've
Right.
had
Yeah.
situations where I was uncomfortable with someone I was close to communicating with someone I wasn't, but it never even came out my mouth to tell them you need to cut this because honestly, if it really depends on the situation, but that's not for me to dictate. Your
Exactly.
relationship with someone has nothing to do with the other party. And
Yep.
if it's not a real problem and a real direct violation, like if it was something completely unspeakable that they did so.
Right.
Then it's like, all right, bro, don't tap dance with the enemy. But it's like, I don't get along with them. All right, cool. Just hold me down. Like, just respect me. That's all.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Even on social media, they have memes that basically say that if you're a friend of my enemy, then you're not my friend.
A friend of mine, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's ridiculous, because if your enemy didn't do anything to me,
yeah,
but y'all then what? Why should? And I think that's unfair for someone to put that on you, to say you have to choose me or them.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's so unfair.
That's not the boundary is with you and that person, not with me and that person, because that person, I don't have no issues with them.
Right.
I've been in that situation before where I've been made to feel the way because I'm friends with someone that this other person doesn't like.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's so unfair to do that to someone.
If you don't mind me asking you, Shell, and you, Gabe, as well. So this is a question for both of you guys. In those situations where you guys were kind of really put in between a rock and a hard place, the violation that kind of caused those two parties to separate, like, was it, I mean, we won't pacify nobody else's pain, but like, was it like a real violation? Like, was it something like, all right, that's petty, we can move on, or we can just peacefully exist in our corners? Or was it like, I can see why, and I'm kind of cringing thinking about it. Like, what were your circumstances? If you don't, if you can't get in detail, it's fine.
For me, it was more of a, it wasn't even like a, I feel like it was pettiness, and I feel like it was character. The characters of the two people didn't go together. Okay. And then if you know the character of both of these people, so you can kind of say, yeah, all right, she probably did that, or even the person who's telling you that you shouldn't be friends with other, you probably caused the situation. So it's like, but I might not say that to you because I'm trying to stay out of it. Don't put me in the middle. I've been put in middle of situations where it's like you gotta choose, and then it's like you I'm not talking to them about you, and I'm not talking about them. So it was never anything like you saying something so deep to the point where it's like, all right, yeah, you're just not a good person, and I shouldn't be friends with you anyway. It wasn't that. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't that serious that I had to be like, I got to cut you off because you and so-and-so not talking because y'all had a misunderstanding or a disagreement. But I'm also not trying to fix it either, because if y'all don't want to talk, that's on you. Right. Y'all figure that out if you want to. So
now, for me, it was a situation of the two people had relationship, and the one person that set the boundary with me that said, if you continue to deal with this person, I'm not dealing with you. They had spoke highly of this person, like extremely highly. I mean, oh, this person is this and this person is that, until they felt like this person had wronged them, like crossed them. Maybe they were saying, oh, they talk negatively about me to other people. Well, that very well may be the case, but I've also heard this person talk negatively about that person. So it's kind of like, it put me at a place of, y'all do this two-way tango, this dance that y'all do. Oh, I'm gonna say this about you, you gonna say this. What do I have to, I don't have anything to do with that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have anything to do with that. And I don't have this, I used to have this, I don't know how to call blind loyalty to people that were not loyal to me. And that includes family as well. I mean, I had to really release that out of my life. This blind loyalty that I'm going to be loyal to you. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to do all this for you. And then you disrespect me. You know what I mean? So I had to lay all that aside and learn that, because I used to be one of those people. If you deal with her and I don't fuck with her, then you don't deal with me. Because I had to release that, you know what I mean? And just knowing and trusting that the boundary with me and this person that I still choose to connect with is, we don't have to talk about him or her. We don't have to talk about him. You know what I mean? Me and you deal with each other. We have other things in common. We deal with each other about those things. So once I set that boundary, I felt fine moving forward with the relationship, and also telling that other person, you don't control me that way. So what you did was, that wasn't a boundary. You were trying to control me, and you're not going to do that.
Right. And now I'm setting a boundary with you because you're trying it, and I'm not going to let you try it. So how about we going to end this right now?
Absolutely.
You know, boundaries can make people go away.
Oh yeah.
That is quite all right with me. But we're gonna go to break, y'all. And then when we come back, we're gonna do some
We're gonna pay some bills.
So then we gotta go pay some bills. Yes. Then we come back. We're gonna do
Y'all
some scenarios about how you set some boundaries and some different responses.
All right.
So.
Tired of the same old motivational speaker? Well, unlock your full leadership potential with Penny Owens. Through storytelling and real-life obstacles with real-time solutions, you'll heal your inner child, expedite the learning process, highlight your strengths, and soar to the next level. Using my keynotes, Depression Ripple, and Purpose Power Infusion, I tackle the underlying issues that keep you from being where you want to be. Join the many who have changed their lives after hearing me speak. Go to www.pennyowens.com.
Tap into your essence with a Divine Essence candle. Candles that soothe your soul and balance your chakras. Each candle has an affirmation inscribed on each jar to help you stay grounded, create balance and harmony. Use code DE20 for 20% off your first purchase at divineessence.us.
What up, peeps? RG from a United Front. Got a quick question for you. Have you always dreamed about podcasting, but you don't know where to start or what even platform to use? Well, I can answer one of them questions for you from the start. Make StreamYard your first investment in your podcast future. StreamYard's easy to use, and it allows you to go live in multiple platforms at once. So, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you can stream them all at the same time. Show us some love. That's my point. When you open up a StreamYard account, use that link below. That actually gives us some love so we can keep producing the same content, and you can also be using the same high quality technology we use to bring the content to your internet browser. So please and thank you in advance. Go StreamYard, go United Front. Talk to you later.
And we are back. If you are just now joining us, welcome to Healing Out Loud. We are talking about the blessings of boundaries.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's been really good so far.
Yes, it has. The time went flying by.
Yeah.
It's some stuff I'm getting to. I love the fact that, when you walk away from any conversation that you leave with something.
Yeah.
For sure.
And accountable, because I want to say something to what you said, Gabe. When you first brought it up, and I was like, oh, I feel like I've been mushed. So when I first started really implementing boundaries, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't even realize I was doing this until later on. I did it like forcefully. I was like kind of like forcing my boundaries on people, but not on some like I wasn't even having conversations. I was just kind of like moving in the way that felt safe to me.
Wow.
And I've realized, how important it is to have conversation with people that I care about. And some people, I guess it doesn't matter, but important to have conversations, but not just so they feel secure in our connection, but it's important for me to exercise why I need to be regarded a certain way. Because, after years of kind of just letting, things happen to you, people doing and saying what they want to do, playing with your heart, or like you were saying, Shell, like you hear things and it's like, hold on, what was that? And then it's like you hear it another time and 3 more times, and then next thing you know, every time something happens, you're having that internal dialogue of, okay, no, because you've been told you be thinking too much, you be doing too much, it's probably not even that deep. And then it's like all these things happen. It's like, bro, even if that is the case, what's not okay is that I've had so many experiences that it's made me just become a shell of who I really am. And I just run into myself and hide. So no, these are things that I need. But instead of communicating it in an effective way, I was shut down. And then I would just kind of, I don't know, I just wouldn't say anything at all. I would just kind of move how I wanted to move. And it wasn't like a manipulating thing. Like, I wouldn't look at it like that, because I really wasn't even. It was like, bro, you can do what you want to do. Like, bro, we're sis. But it was unfair. It was unfair to the person, and it was unfair to me. because I deserve to have my voice heard.
Yes.
And where I am and what I'm not going to tolerate, and the other people deserve that as well. You know, that
Yeah.
blessing and that boundary could be for the both of us to grow more effectively instead of it being so harsh and so, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like that.
Absolutely. That's good.
Yeah, that's real good, because, you know, I just want to add to that, because I was having a conversation with someone about having a conversation, like to have that boundary conversation. And I was like, I'm not even going to have that conversation because I know how they're going to respond. So I avoid the conversation because I feel like it's going to be a defense thing. And we're not going to come to any sort of resolve. And I think oftentimes that does prevent you from creating a boundary because the fear of what they're going to say or what they're going to do.
Let me ask you something about that for you. You knowing how that person is going to respond. Are you afraid of having like conflict with them or losing a connection? Like, are you afraid of it being like a blow up that gets out of control? Are you afraid of what the response to you is going to be?
I'm afraid that if they respond in the way that I feel like they're going to respond, it's not going to be receptive of what I'm saying. Yes. So for me, that's a major trigger. Like it makes me feel like now I got to be like, I feel like I need to drag your ass.
I gotta revert.
Yeah, right. Because
you're afraid of going back to the old shit.
Right. So it's triggering for me to think that, okay, if I have this conversation with you and there's no accountability for the part that you play, I can take accountability for what I may have done, but also having a conversation with someone and they bring up things that happened months ago, but they never addressed it until you address things with them.
Yeah,
so now I'm saying that you've done this.
That's also manipulation. So
that is manipulation. It's gaslighting like a mug. And now, so then I know that that's how you're going to respond. So now I feel like I'm guarding, I'm protecting you too, because I know I might say some things. And then if those things come out, then it's no coming back from that. Like, once it's out there, it's out there. So, you know, and I think that I guess it is a fear of conflict, because that's what will end up happening. There will be conflict because I'm going to be triggered by your response if you're in this way.
Now what? And like that.
I usually, and what I do is, if that happens, if I see that happening, I'll just shut the conversation down. Like, I'm done. And that usually bothers the person, because it's like, wait, no, I'm gonna stop now, because if I don't, you know, your feelings will be hurt, and then I'll later on be like, damn, you ain't have to say that. You didn't have to do that.
So let me ask you this, because right there for me, that's where you set the boundary. I'm done, because you were defensive, you were this, you were that. You didn't allow the conversation to take place. I'm done. So where do you go, Shell, after you do the I'm done part? How do you and this same person end up in this same place? Do you go back?
You know what happened? Because this has happened to me. So after I'm done with the conversation, I just don't deal with it. But now it's like we continue to move forward. But
now there's an elephant in the room.
Right. The thing that's the thing is still a thing. So as we go along, that thing happens again. And it's not being addressed.
Oh, you know.
So now I'm like, okay, now if I address it again, we're going to be at the same place.
Yeah.
Till we get to a place where we're not going to speak at all.
But now you're not honoring yourself.
Right.
But now that's where you forsake
activate that throat chakra.
Yeah, come on.
That's the thing. I have to, you know, it's like, and sometimes I say I'd rather just be like done with the relationship, because if the relationship is not going to be healthy, then what are we actually doing?
Then allow that to be the closure. That's what Crystal taught me that.
And I haven't done that.
Closure. That's the closure.
And usually what happens is that when I don't close things, they end up not talking to me at some point. So then
it's like that.
It's crazy.
So exhausting. Like, why? Because when it comes down to it, if you don't like the way I handle things and vice versa, that's cool. But like, I'm really just trying to be a better version of myself. I don't want all this goofy shit attached to it.
That's it. And you know, people can find so many things that are wrong with you, you know, especially when their journey is not, you know, the same as your journey. Nobody's journey is the same, but the healing journey.
I know.
So people can find all kind of things that's wrong with you when you're trying to. Nobody's perfect. None of us are perfect, and there are times when we might resort back to some old ways and say or do some things that we've done. That doesn't mean that we're bad or we're just then it's like the whole you think you're better than me type of situation, and it's like I don't even want to deal with that.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like I'm probably saying I ain't gonna have no friends. I'm just gonna have the people that are on the same journey that I'm on, because if you're not on the same journey that I'm on, we don't really have a lot to talk about. For real.
Exactly. It's like I'm not even thinking I'm better than you. I'm better than who I was yesterday, which is
I'm better than me. Right.
It's not
about anybody. I'm better than me. I'm better than who I was yesterday or a year ago. That's what I'm trying. I'm competing with me all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. So it's not about anybody else, but I understand that other people may not see that because of where they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. And people just see your actions, but they don't even understand there's a real grief that comes with setting boundaries.
Yes. Oh my God.
Especially when you love that person. There's a grief in it. And if the boundary has to be something hard, like, you know what? I just don't accept this type of behavior anymore. So I'm not cutting you off, but I'm kind of good. There's still a grief with that, because despite all the negativity, I love you. Like, I really love you, and I miss you, or I like talking to you, but I can't allow myself to be hurt because of how you make me feel about me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm my responsibility, but I can't allow anybody to make me feel a way without me speaking on it. And if I speak on it, you care about me enough to say, I didn't see it that way, and I'm sorry I offended you, but okay, cool. Like, and then that's somebody who I want around, because they feel like I may not agree with it or understand it, but I respect what you're talking about, and I move accordingly. And you do the same with me.
Yeah. I respect
if there's some mutual respect for the boundary, then it's like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, if you have to
wrapping it up,
having a conversation with
wrapping this up.
Someone comes to me and tells me that I did something to them, I'm gonna respect their feelings, no matter how I feel in the moment. Because sometimes people will come to you and say you've done something, in your mind you be like, I ain't do that shit. Like, what you be like, or it wasn't like that, or this is what my intentions wasn't to make you feel that way.
This is always my response to that. I can't I understand, and that is your experience of me. So I can't say I didn't, because your experience
me. That's a good way to do that, as opposed to being defensive, because then it's like, now that's a whole different situation. I have to respect how you feel in that moment. I even apologize for making you feel the way that you feel in that moment. But it wasn't my intentions. But I can't always take accountability for something that I didn't feel like I've done. Like, have you ever been in that place? Even though they're telling you that you did this to them, and you're like, it's not how I saw that. You're like that. So it's like, how do I take accountability for something? Or how do you take accountability for something if you meant that shit?
Yeah, I always seem to apologize for their experience, and that is not me saying I did something, because sometimes we all understand and know that you could be apologizing for the so and so before you that didn't give them the apology. Like, you know what I mean? They could be putting it on you, but it really ain't you. But because I love and care for you so much, I'm sorry if you experience me that way.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
And I like that, because it's not necessarily saying I did it, but it's letting you know that I love you and I care about how you feel.
And I'm acknowledging. That's what you said happened.
That there was something that I may have said or done to you that you felt was whatever.
That's what I've
dismissing it and saying, nah, I ain't do that. So, and that's something that you have to learn.
Yeah, that triggers me.
You do.
Yeah, you have to learn.
Sometimes you gotta put your pride to the side. And I've done that. Like, I've taken accountability where I just thought it was like complete BS. But what I took accountability for was how they were feeling in the moment.
How they were feeling in the moment.
About how I moved. And so it's never my intention to make you feel like that about me. Although I can't align with what you're saying, that this crime you're trying to pin on me. But if I was there, I was there, I guess.
I'm not
like that. Obviously, we deliberate thinking about the other person and their heart.
And that's it. That's honoring their boundary because they're trying to create it. So
there you go.
That's it. And that's important too. We have, even though we're setting them, we have to honor others.
We do.
Yeah, we have to honor others, even though we might not feel like.
And that is hard. That's hard when you're moving, when you're trying to move, when you're offended and trying to move in grace at the same time. It's hard to keep your eyes also on the other party and that they have feelings as well. But that comes with time and experience and a repetitiveness of you being intentional about honoring yourself and upholding this standard so that those around you can adhere to it. And if they don't, what they say earlier, we said earlier, the trash takes itself to the curb. No effort.
That's it. That is it.
That's it.
So we talked about we was gonna do a little scenario, some role play.
So before we get started, try. This is what we want you guys to understand. It's a couple of tips that we want you to add to your arsenal of healing journey stuff. One, explain your boundary. Explain your boundary to the person you're in relationship with. 2, use I statements as much as possible. I feel this way. I feel like you're this, I bring it back to you every time. 3, clearly outline the consequences for violating your boundary. Make sure they are clear. But I'm just saying, no, if you continue this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to stand firm on that. And then the last one would be when they violate the boundary, because one thing's for sure, 2 things for certain, they always will. You have to follow through. When you're violated, follow through. Or guess what? It was like there was no boundary. Where was it? Where? Like there was no boundary.
Absolutely.
Okay. Follow through. So now the tribe, we're going to give you guys.
I can say one thing to that, Gabe.
Yes.
Just like everything, especially on this healing journey, it all starts with self-love and loving yourself. Because when you get that love for self, it's always going to be difficult, but the path will be much more clear about where you need to implement those things.
I love that. And it's also about, I guess it goes hand in hand, Chris, because if you love yourself, then you will honor yourself.
Absolutely.
Because all that speaks to is honoring yourself. You want to honor yourself at all costs. That's it.
Yes.
So there it is.
So let's go ahead, Gabe. We're gonna do our little mock our little role play.
So I'm gonna be I am the girlfriend. No, I'm the fiance. We've been together for a while now. Okay. And I'm talking to my fiance. I'm going to set this boundary today because I walk on eggshells with him. I don't always show up for myself, but today I was in that mirror and I was like, Queen, you're going to honor yourself today and you're going to tell him how you feel and we'll see where it goes. All right. Who I'm talking to, Chris?
Okay. Yeah. I'm the bad.
My man.
You're not receiving this at all. So
I'm not receiving this at all.
Okay. Babe.
What? Damn it.
Wait, time out. Why are you so aggressive? See, when they do that they take you off the beaten path, y'all. Don't let them do that.
Don't let that deter you, girls. Keep going.
This is a little tip I learned too. Me and him are laying in bed. When your man is relaxed, he receives better. So we're laying in bed. We're about to go to bed, right? So we're laying in bed. Babe, I've noticed when we have this conversation, right, I feel drained. Like it's really draining me. I'm willing to talk about it with you. I just feel like we can't continue with the personal attacks. Y'all heard me. I said I 4 different times. I feel, I've noticed. So I'm letting him know it's me. I'm talking. I've noticed that, when we have this conversation, I'm drained. It tires me out. But I'm willing to have this talk with you as long as we don't have to do the personal attacks. Can you stop making the personal attacks?
How do I attack you?
Well, you attack me by the name calling. Whenever I have an issue,
you call me.
Uh-oh.
Well, the names I've called you during the argument.
I'm sorry.
Y'all, she trying to. No, continue.
Oh shit.
The names I called you, babe. You know, I'm working on that. And to be fair, and in all honesty, I haven't called you names the past couple of times we've tried to have this talk. So basically, what I wanted to say, this is not a personal attack against you, but I want you to know that I'm not willing to have this talk again if you keep making personal attacks. And if you continue to do it, I will walk away from this conversation and we won't ever have it again.
What you mean we won't ever have it again?
I will not talk to you about this actual thing again if you continue to personally attack me.
Oh, I won't personally attack you if you don't personally attack me. Because the
fair.
things you want me to do, you do the same things to me.
That sounds so petty, like a nigga. Men
oh my God, yes, so petty. They gotta make it about them. You're doing something to them, and wait.
Yep.
You even get into the equation. I'm talking about me right now.
But you see how that could have turned into an argument, guys?
Yes.
But I didn't allow it because I kept going back to my boundary. I'm not going to have this conversation with you if you continue to personally attack me. Now, one thing they're going to do is bring up some stuff you did to them in the past. Now, I might have called him names the second time we talked about it, but now here we are in bed. This is our 7th time trying to have this conversation. I've been stopped calling him names. But he gonna bring it up.
Yeah, and now it's like, all of a sudden you want to, I don't care if it's the 150th time that this thing happened. If you get to the point where it's time for, all right, you know what, we got to stop this because this is not right.
Yeah.
Have that conversation and stick to it. If he tries to bait, because Chris was baiting, she
was baiting and switching.
And somebody like that, they don't respect. There's no respect there, because if they really honored you in a relationship, they might be confused, but it'll be like, all right, so like what you want to talk about? They really want to get to the problem to get to the resolution.
Right.
Absolutely.
But I gotta say something. When Shell said, I automatically envision, you ever be around a couple that start their shit and it's like, all right, we're about to pack this up. Like, we about to go.
We're about to leave.
Party's over. Everybody shutting down the card table.
Yeah. Because it's about to go down. So I was like, oh, okay, this is not good.
I had a flashback. My head went, hold up. But okay, so that was the best scenario for that situation with your mate, your spouse, or whatever. But ladies, gentlemen, whoever, stand on business. We had this talk. If the name calling happens again, set your bound. That is your boundary time. That is your time to stand firm, and the consequence has to be put in place. Don't talk about it again.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you say this is what's going to happen. If we do this, then you're going to have to. That's what's going to have to happen.
Absolutely.
Whatever that looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, y'all want to do one?
I want to be the guy or the person. It doesn't have to be a guy.
Yeah.
I'll say somebody has to be the person that's receptive of it. Like, you're respecting the boundary. There's no back and forth. There's a mutual respect, and I hear what you're saying, and I got you.
Set a boundary, sister to sister, Shell.
I'll set a boundary
with your sister.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, you sister.
I'm doing it with Chris.
Okay.
So hey, Chris.
Hey, girl.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah.
So, I just want to have a conversation, because I went after Soul Care one Sunday. You kind of said something that I kind of took away. I don't really know if you meant anything by it, but it was kind of rude.
Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. Okay, let me get back together. It was kind of rude. I didn't say anything then because I went into my head and I was like, maybe she didn't mean it like that. But and maybe you didn't. Maybe you were just joking or whatever. But it did make me feel some type of way. And I love you. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what we are. What we do. We respect one another. And like I said, I don't know if it was intentional, but it did make me feel some type of way. So I felt like I just needed to say something to you so we could be on the same page and we can move forward. And
Okay.
You missed it, Michelle. She asked you what she said. She said, "What?"
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Okay.
Oh, wait, now I got to make up something. I wasn't ready for that part. Wait, I gotta make up something. Oh shit. Wait, something real quick. So, you made a comment about my hair, my hair. You said something like, "Oh, I wouldn't wear my hair like that," but if that works for you, that's fine.
Oh.
That's got the shady.
Okay. I'll work with that. All right. Okay.
Well, I took it as a joke because I laughed about it at the time, but it kind of made me feel like, well, what's she trying to say?
Oh, okay. Well, okay. First and foremost, sis, I apologize because I never even meant for that to hurt you, and I could see now what you're saying, like how that was offensive. And in this case, if I said that, I would probably say like, I would just probably just play like, oh, like I just meant like you have like the personality where it's like, you could just like, do, and you come into this room like, larger than life or whatever, and how me, I would, whatever, but I never meant to offend you, and I love you, and I'm sorry that hurt you.
Okay, I appreciate you. And that's why I didn't say nothing then, but then it sat with me. And I was like, well, let me just say something because I don't want to have no bad energy. This is my girl, and I love you. So
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you.
Oh, that was so sweet. In those cases, though, that wasn't a boundary. Didn't even need to be set. She apologized, right?
That was right. I didn't have to set a boundary in that moment, but it was kind of like be mindful of the shit that you say out your damn mouth.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. That was
you know
true.
what I'm saying? Like you got to be mindful because I'm just saying, even though that didn't happen, but
she accepted it.
In that sense, that could have been a thing where I gotta be cool with saying certain things to that person, even though I didn't say don't say that no more.
Yeah, that's why too. I said I would explain what I meant because sometimes people are like, oh, I didn't mean nothing by that shit. But it's like, damn, that even sounds weird. But if you just explain like why you said it or whatever, just to give the person clarity from your point of view, but also to acknowledge that if that's not something that they like and that they won't accept, acknowledge that and respect it.
Yeah. So and that's a good thing too. Like, it just for ladies, if you're seeing this, whoever's watching this, that's a good way to like, because sometimes we carry things. Somebody will say something and we don't say nothing about it, and then as time goes on, you'll still be holding it against them because it's still in the back of your mind that they said that thing to you, and then you start to have feelings. Animosity will start to happen because it's like they'll say something else to somebody else, and you be like, "Oh yeah, look, see,
that's a lot of passive aggressiveness."
Yes,
then it's a lot of
It's important to address things when you feel the way because how you feel is important.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Especially when we're healing, because we're healing out loud, y'all, and it's not an easy journey because we still get triggered by things. We still go back sometimes to how things used to affect us, even though we are trying to work on it. But things still trigger us, and when you're around a bunch of women who don't understand that, I think those conversations are easy. But we don't do that anyway, so nobody really does that. So that's not in our tribe. But if you have to talk to somebody else, talk to them.
I agree.
Don't be afraid of the conflict.
And if you are if you're hurt by something that happened before you talk to them, I would definitely recommend praying or meditating first because you really are never sure what you may be met with. And if you're met with some type of adverse response, it can automatically like intensify that anger or that sadness. And now it's like the intention is now out the door. So be ready, but then also to have that conversation, be ready, but then I guess like be ready to just have to talk. You don't want it to linger.
However it goes, because you can be met with of resistance. So you got to be mindful of how you're going to handle that. Like, because you don't want to pop off. Like, to me, sometimes that's what happens when I don't want to talk about things because I'm like, oh, they're going to respond this way, and I may respond that way.
Right.
So I'm working on that. I'm definitely working on that. That's why you should either say, okay, I'm done, because if I'm not done, I'm gonna finish you. No. And
Right.
I don't want to do that. Finish her. And I don't want to do that.
No, I feel you.
Yeah, because sometimes it just the response can make you be like,
what was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. What you say? Like,
if you have a good accountability partner too, because I'll check into with Crystal a lot of times too if I'm dealing with that and I don't know. I know how I could, like Shell is feeling like I know how I can respond. I don't want to do that. Sis, can you help me? Can you like draw a picture for me of how maybe I could handle this to make it better and not worse? Like, you know what I mean? So get an accountability partner as well.
Yes, that you can, I have one right. But I think these scenarios are really good though. I think we need to incorporate these scenarios. Like, all right, listen, I need a scenario. So I got this situation. You be them.
Yeah.
And respond this way. So you can so you be ready.
Accountability.
Way it comes.
Right.
However way it comes.
Yeah. Because in matters of the heart, it's never about right or wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just don't feel like it is. That's not the solution we want. We want to be better as people and we want to be able to coexist. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But then, y'all, we are at the hour.
Wow. Oh, we're done.
We just be talking. But we have to, we do have a segment called I'm Perfectly Fine, where we speak to our younger versions of ourselves.
Yes.
And since we are talking about boundaries, I didn't write anything down. But do y'all have anything, or we just off the top of the dome?
Off the top. I'm typically off the top.
Yeah, me too. Off the top, I would say you were never good at setting a boundary for your younger self, Gabe, because you weren't taught that boundaries even existed. You lived in a world with no boundaries. But Big Gabe is honoring herself every day for you and making sure her boundaries and the consequences of those that don't follow her boundaries are being executed, and that way she can live in harmony.
I love that. Thank you. Well, I'll go. Little Shell, Big Shell. I'm going to be in agreement with Gabe on that one, because Little Shell had no idea what a boundary was, and you didn't allow, but things happened to you where you didn't know that you could create a boundary or stop someone from treating you a certain type of way when we're young. So you just accepted a lot. So now that Big Shell knows what they are, she's going to help you with those old boundaries that weren't necessarily presented then, but now she got you.
Yeah.
So can't nobody come in and just be all disruptive and trying to just knock down those walls.
No. I love that.
Yeah. Little Crystal, the value that you see in others is because you see it in yourself. You don't know that yet, but it's easy for you to point out the beauty that you see in other people because it's like a mirror holding up to you. So going forward, you're going to have a hard time implementing boundaries because you don't feel as though you're just as valuable, but you are.
Wow.
You are.
Wow.
You are.
That's dope.
I love that.
That's dope. Yeah.
So we gotta pay some bills. We already did our break, but we have to shout out the network, the United Front Network. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys.
And we appreciate you. And if you are loving what you see, Healing Out Loud, and on some of the other shows that you may watch, please consider donating to the show at PayPal on PayPal at RGainsII. All proceeds go to the operating costs of this network. If you have a podcast or you have an idea for a podcast and you're looking for a place to that's about us, for us, the United Front Network is a place that you want to stream your podcast. You can always hit us up at weareunited@myyahoo.com. And you can also have a show on the network.
Yes.
So until next time, we will see you guys.
Yes. Love and light, everyone.
Healing Out Loud, y'all.